Hello, I'm Mike Biselli, your host for our podcast and the global digital community rallying around it. During this episode, we visited with a national healthcare innovation thought leader and executive who is quickly advancing new models of health and care delivery. Torben Nielsen is the CEO of Zoom Care, the organization building the world's first on-demand platform that offers both retail and digital healthcare. While spending time together, Torben shared with us his journey of becoming the CEO of his fast-growing company and how his previous experiences as a consumer goods executive, including Lego, have perfectly positioned him to create a new and unique experience for the healthcare consumers Zoom Care serves. I'm excited for you to get to know Torben, a leader and friend I highly admire and look to while the healthcare industry continues to evolve and innovate. After hearing from Torben, I hope you will help Zoom Care's mission to further expand the deliverance of on-demand consumer access to trusted professionals when and where needed. Welcome to Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli, where we highlight and speak with the innovators, the game changers, and the pioneers who are deeply passionate and relentless in solving the problems our world is facing today. This is your opportunity to connect with and learn from these leaders and to support them on their mission. Perhaps they will soon be hearing your story as well. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you on this journey with us. Torben, welcome to our podcast, being recorded at Halo Creative Labs, located inside of Angel MD's headquarters here at Catalyst, our healthcare innovation campus in downtown Denver. And a big, big welcome to our ecosystem here in Colorado. We're so glad you and your team are visiting us from Portland.
Mike, it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me. Really looking forward to the next 30 minutes.
Well, Torben, I'm pumped to spend some time with you during your visit in Denver. I've been following your journey for several years as a national leader in our healthcare industry, and I can't wait to chat with you about your previous experiences and what you're up to at Zoom Care. But before we dive into all things on-demand retail and digital healthcare, a bit of housekeeping. For our audience, while listening to any of our episodes, please make sure to join our online community at passionatepioneers.com in order to share feedback and ideas with our guests and interact with the entire community. And lastly, please take a moment to nominate other passionate pioneers for a future episode via our guest nomination form link, as well as subscribe to the podcast so you will automatically receive episode updates in your podcast player. Simply search Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli in iTunes or Spotify, or click the link at the bottom of the episode notes. All right, Torben, it's almost time to hear how Zoom Care is creating a better way to get healthcare. But first, let's take a moment to break the ice a bit so our community can get to know you. Go ahead and select one of the three.
All right.
He's going for the middle
one.
All right, favorite place. What's your favorite place on earth and why?
This one is easy. It would have to be Hawaii.
Hawaii, okay.
Yeah, Hawaii. We've been over there a number of times. Been to almost all the islands, and there's just something totally different about Hawaii. The minute you step off that plane, it's just music, it's sun, it's relaxation, and then there's all the variety, right? I mean, you can go up and have snow in the morning and actually go to the beach in the afternoon.
So it sounds like you may have done Mount Haleakala.
Yes, exactly.
Did you go up and watch the sunrise?
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah.
I did that a number of years ago with my sister, and it was, like you said, we were bundled up in parkas. There's snow. It's freezing cold. And then we took bikes down the volcano.
Yeah, we didn't do that because we had parked halfway up the mountain, and slept overnight in a tent.
Oh, wow.
And we got really, really cold. I mean, I'm telling you, we got up there in the afternoon. It was nice and sunny. Pitch the tent. And then during the night, it just got so cold because we're up on a mountain, right? And we didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was
too
cold.
cold.
Favorite island?
Probably Kauai.
Kauai?
Yeah, Kauai.
That one's the real rainy one, right?
Yeah, it's rainy on the north side, but it's really sunny on the south side. And so you can actually see both. And that's really nice. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Hawaii myself. So Hawaii it is for this podcast episode. Torben, thanks for sharing that. It's time to dive in. We have a lot to cover today. The work happening with Zoom Care and your leadership there is just so exciting. Yeah. And it's really what we're starting to see, the trend lines in our industry and where we're going. But before we dive into all things Zoom Care and the things that are happening in the community and in the company, let's take it back a bit. I want the audience to hear a little bit of your previous work and how it kind of set you up to lead Zoom Care. So take us back a bit. Rewind the clock.
Yeah, so, as you can tell, obviously I wasn't born and raised in Kansas City, from Denmark, right? And came over 25 years ago and, started working for a couple of startups. I started my career at Lego back in Denmark.
Okay, pause. Pause. Lego. What's it like working at Lego? I'm such a nerd. I loved Legos as a kid. What was it like?
It was fantastic. I mean, Lego is such a beautiful company. There's so much creativity happening at the company. And you're dealing with kids as your target audience, right? And they provide you whatever feedback you want to hear or feedback you don't want to hear, right? They're just so honest, right? And it was so much fun working for that company. I was working on the digital side, working on Lego.com. And because of the brand and the strong experience that we were creating, we saw just a tremendous amount of traffic to that site. And so whatever we developed from a digital perspective just had immediate response, right? And that is exciting as a marketer and as a product person, right? To see the engagement and the reaction right away.
That is so cool. How does a guy from Lego get into healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, there were, as I mentioned, as I came over, I worked for a couple of startups. I worked for Xerox for 5 years, tech company, obviously, on some of the e-commerce websites, and really started honing in on what consumerism is and how you drive demand and awareness around your products and services, right? I'd done it at Lego, I did it at Xerox, and in some of the startups. And Cambia was looking to really beef up its focus on consumerism. And this is back in 2006.
And for our community, what is Cambia?
Cambia is a health plan up in the Pacific Northwest, a Blue Cross Blue Shield health plan based in Portland, Oregon. And they were looking to put more emphasis on digital experience and how to be more relevant to their members. And so they were looking for a lot of people from outside the industry actually coming in, helping them disrupt an industry that had not been moving very fast, right, for years. And so I was part of a new team that was coming in, being challenged to do it differently in healthcare, right? Be more relevant to consumers in healthcare. And we did that from 2006 to 2012.
Wow.
And we created some really novel new experiences, such as price transparency. I think we were the first health plan to really let members know what it's going to cost them to see a particular provider.
What did you just say? Price transparency?
Yeah, right. It's unheard of in this industry, right? Even today, right?
Wow.
But this is way back in 2006 that we started to work on that, right? We also created a rate your provider mechanism that was built into the provider directory. For most health plans, the provider directory is the most utilized feature, right? Is this provider in network or not? Having the ability to actually, in that setting, rate the provider that you just saw, we thought was novel. And it was new and novel at that time, right? And we saw a tremendous uptake right as we launched that feature in 2007.
So then in 2012, you co-founded a small little company.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we actually got really inspired, right? During that 5 years, we started engaging with other Blue Cross Blue Shield companies, right? And a lot of them said, how are you doing these things, right? Price transparency, we've been trying to go at it for years. How are you actually doing it? Why are you seeing so much traffic to your provider directory? And we said, you know what? Maybe there's an opportunity to actually take what we have created in-house just for Regions members or Cambia members and actually spin it off as a separate company. And that's what I did with 12 other people back in 2012. And over the next 5 years, we grew to 220 people and $25 million in revenue.
And what was that company?
It was called HealthSpark, and it's a company that still exists today. We sold to health plans primarily, these SaaS-based software solutions, provider directories, provider ratings, price transparency, 70 health plans or so across the nation. It was just a tremendous journey. Yeah.
So then here you are as spinning this out, being a startup kind of founder and operator, and then you go back into where you were previously. Explain a little bit about that.
So I had the opportunity to join Primera Blue Cross. They're based in Seattle. It's the largest health plan in the Northwest. They have some of the big self-funded employer groups that are headquartered in Seattle, like Amazon, Microsoft, Alaska Airlines, Weyerhaeuser. And I thought it was really interesting to join their innovation team and take that company and rethink how we do healthcare, especially with these large self-funded employer groups.
Wow. And then from there, did you start seeing an opportunity with Zoom Care? How did that start coming into focus?
Yeah, so I've been pinged a number of times by a hospital system called Peace Health. They're based in the state of Washington as well. And they, I'd never been on the provider side, right? I've been on the payer side for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting to be very close to point of care, right? Because that's really where care happens. And that's where you have an opportunity to engage with the end user, the patient, right? And so Peace Health, gave me a good offer I couldn't resist. And they had purchased Zoom Care, prior, 6 months prior. And soon after I got started with Peace Health, all conversations started to be around Zoom Care, and I got offered the CEO role.
And going into Peace Health, you had no idea about that?
I did not know. I knew that they had purchased the Zoom Care. I thought it was really intriguing, but it's like, yeah, I'll take it. So that's great.
So history tends to repeat itself a bit here. You go into a big organization, you get spun back out.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the intrigue. I mean, they were intrigued by my background, and especially when you think of a Zoom Care, that's an on-demand retail platform, right? Yep. It has a really strong retail, facet. I've done some of that in my past. Yeah. It has really strong digital. It was built with technology in mind from ground up 15 years ago, right? So I have that. And then it has, obviously, healthcare. And so bringing that to bear and really help Zoom Care take it to the next level is part of my journey.
And we're going to dive deep on Zoom Care in just a moment, but I want to understand still, I'm fascinated by this. So Peace Health owned what is now called Zoom Care, or they built it for 15 years. Explain that a bit.
Yeah, so Peace Health bought Zoom Care. Zoom Care was founded by two doctors 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And as all startups have been going through, various phases as they grew.
Oh, I know that.
And, had taken, external capital as well. And had run into some difficulties, I think, over the past couple of years. And Peace Health, reached out and said, we want to buy you guys. And so they bought out the two founders and the investor. And so Peace Health is owning Zoom Care now 100%.
And then from when you were hired, you didn't know that you were going to eventually become the CEO of Zoom Care, but because you had that background, it sounded like it was just a perfect fit, huh?
Yeah, I think they felt, this is, we need to really grow this company now that we have access to capital, right? And they were interested in a person that could come in and help them do that, and had real strong retail and digital experience, and I brought that to bear.
So let's talk about Zoom Care, but then right after that, I want to talk about why you believe and your team at Zoom Care believes now is the time for what you're doing at Zoom Care. But we'll pause on that for just a moment. Give us a little bit. What is Zoom Care, and what are you guys bringing to the marketplace?
Yeah, so Zoom Care, as I mentioned, is an on-demand retail experience, if you will. We have close to 50 clinics scattered in between Portland and Oregon. We have been doing this for the past 15 years. Patients can do same-day appointments. 80% of all our patients see their doctor within 4 hours of scheduling an appointment, which is just unheard of, right? If you think about primary care today, it takes you 3 weeks to get in, right? Here, you can do it, schedule it on the app, and you can see your provider half an hour later. It's unheard of. It's neighborhood clinics. So we have, a bunch of these clinics within 20 minutes drive time in the zones where we are. And we offer a very strong digital component as well. So you can actually start out by chatting with a provider. And if that chat doesn't resolve, or you feeling better, or you knowing what to do next, you can go see a Zoom Care provider in a physical setting.
And is this what type of specialties are being offered today?
Yeah, so we offer obviously primary care, urgent care is part of it, but then we have up to 10 other specialty lines that we offer, service lines: mental health, gynecology, derm, chiropractic services, medical massage, internal medicine, just a whole slew of services that we offer as part of it. We also have what we call a ER alternative. We call that our super clinic. 80% of all treatments that happen in an ER, we can take care of at the super clinic.
Wow. And
it's at a fraction of the cost. We do not bill for a facility fee. And as you know, facility fee is really what, costs a lot, right, in this system. And We don't do that. And so typically when you go into any one of our super clinics, you go in, you schedule the appointment, just like you would for any of the retail clinics that we have. You actually schedule the appointment for an ER-related condition. And within 60 minutes, that's the average time it takes as you walk into the clinic till you walk out of the clinic, 60 minutes. Think about a traditional ER clinic, right? You spend 4 or 5 hours. Here's 60 minutes.
The very first question that pops in my head with this environment that you just described, the satisfaction rate for the patient must be through the roof.
Yeah, it is. And that's what's so cool to see about Zoom Care, right? We have close to 14,000 Google reviews. And those 14,000 Google reviews, they average 4.8 out of 5.
Wow.
It's just incredible. We call our customers, we've created an archetype. We call her Sarah. Our Sarahs love the experience. And part of it is because it's so easy access to healthcare, right? You schedule that appointment. It takes you less than 30 minutes, or 30 seconds, sorry. It takes you less than 30 seconds to schedule that appointment. You see your provider in 15 minutes is the regular provider visit in one of our daily care clinics, right? 15 minutes, you're done. And then you leave with meds in hand. For 70% of the time, you leave with meds in hand because we have our own pharmacy.
Wow.
And so we distribute drugs to all these 50 clinics. And as you leave, your meds sits on the counter just waiting for you.
Let's go before this archetype Sarah becomes a customer of Zoom Care. How are you attracting the Sarahs? How are you attracting new customers?
Yeah, so we do a lot of social media marketing, but we're also seeing a high degree of word of mouth because when Sarah has seen it once or experienced this experience once, she wants to talk about it to her friends, right? In no other healthcare setting can you actually go in and see a provider within half an hour from you scheduling the appointment, and then in 15 minutes be taken care of and leave with meds in hand. And so she actually helps us get a lot of new Zoomers or new Sarahs into our clinics.
And another big thing that we're seeing in the marketplace right now with companies like a Dispatch Health or Pager, they're going to the patient.
Yeah,
are you seeing that as part of the Zoom Care? Or?
Yeah, we do because your Zoom Care journey starts with you having the app on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. We take walk-ins as well, but if you walk in and you don't have the app on your phone, we actually sit down with the patient, with Sarah, and say, let us make sure you have the app on the phone when you leave. Because it's so easy to schedule the appointment, or because it's so easy to just click and chat with your provider from the app itself, right? So we actually have 100% app adoption among our Sarahs, which is unheard of, right? And that allows us to communicate with our Sarahs, right? It allows us to send reminders. It allows them to ping them for various reasons. In the app itself, she has access to her entire personal health record that she has had with Zoom Care over the past 15 years.
And Torben, you and I have been friends for a number of years now, and know that I love technology and disruption, and I know you do as well. Where do you see innovative, technology, whether it be wearables or chatbots or AI or any that kind of world living inside of this experience for your Sarahs? Yeah,
that's a great question, and we are expanding our virtual care capabilities right now because we really want to be where Sarah is and where she wants to engage with healthcare, right? Whether it be in a retail clinic or whether it be online, right? Or whether it be on her phone and then chatting with one of our providers. So we're investing a lot in the digital space, virtual care, and then obviously building out our footprint because we think the synergy between the virtual component and the physical retail component, if we can find or crack that nut, I think we're onto something really big.
And in regards to the payer side of this equation, what does that look like?
Yeah, so Zoom Care is a fee-for-service, offering, right? And so we take all commercial insurance in the two markets where we're at. And we really have a good relationship with all our payers. And we are starting now, with me coming on board, having the payer background, we're starting to have more and more conversation with payers on how can we actually create a differentiated experience for your members, right? Utilizing the clinic footprint that we have, utilizing some of the digital services that could be built in to, some of their own apps, right? Or ways that they try to engage their members, right?
I personally see where Zoom Care is absolutely spot on for where we're going with value-based care.
Yeah.
but I want our community to learn from you. What are your thoughts around that in regards to your model and where we are going, hopefully, as an industry toward value-based care? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, we've thought a lot about it and have a lot of conversations. We believe that because we were built with technology from ground up, we can communicate and have a strong relationship with our Sarahs. That is really key for driving value-based care, right? Because you want to be there almost as a health companion with Sarah, right, during her journey. And for us to have that ability to communicate with her, for her to have ability or access to her personal health records, right off the app, and to reach out to her in case she has any questions, we think is absolutely pivotal. Otherwise, you cannot drive that value-based, continuous relationship that is really needed.
And then also this myth or this notion that older adults can't engage with technology. I just heard you say 100% adoption.
Yeah.
Blow it up for me.
Yeah, no, I think, we are all carrying around smartphones these days, right? We are all having, we all have tablets at home, right? I think it's a myth. I think most people are actually really tech savvy. But we have paid really strong attention to human-centered design, human-centered design approaches to how our app actually, feels and how the experience is, not just on a digital side, but actually in the clinics themselves. So we've taken a lot of cues from retail and built it into our clinics. So our clinics are really bright. They're very consistent. So if you see a clinic in Seattle and you go to Southern Oregon and you see the same, it's the same clinic footprint. And everybody knows what to do as they walk into the clinic.
And going back to the technology, what is some of that feedback from our older adults in regards to their experience with the app?
I think, they've been pleasantly surprised, right? They didn't know that healthcare could feel that easy or that human, right? It's a very human perspective that we're trying to put in the app. Literally, to set up an appointment, it's 2 clicks. Wow. Once you've set up the profile, it's 2 clicks. It's very simple. We also have various concepts that we are working on with our providers. One of them is the perfect visit. That is a concept, it's a framework that we have created over the past 15 years that all our providers go through and they learn to the backbone. There's 5 steps in that perfect visit. And in order for us to deliver the perfect visit, there's some really fundamental rules. One of them is, and this may surprise you, but one of them is we start on time. 90% of all our appointments start on time. Unheard of in primary care.
I'm laughing because it is unheard of.
We often, get asked, well, I never see anybody in your waiting room. Are you really successful? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We are successful because the person is sitting in the exam room, not in the waiting room. They're sitting in the exam room where they should be, right, with the provider.
That is fascinating.
There's nobody in the waiting room, right? Gosh. Yeah. And we actually will tell a Sarah, a customer patient there that walks in late, even if it's just 5 minutes late, we will say, you know what, we need to reschedule you because otherwise we cannot provide the perfect visit to you.
Wow.
And the perfect visit is it starts on time and it ends on time. You know it's 15 minutes long and you can leave after 15 minutes.
You're
really key.
This is very provocative stuff, Torben. I mean, be careful.
It is. Well, I know. I mean, but in some ways, there are Sarahs that are completely surprised, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when they understand the methodology or the thinking behind it, it's like, yeah, I get it. Wow. And usually we can schedule an appointment with them, 15 minutes later, right? Or across, just the street, right? There's another Zoom Care clinic, and they can go right over there.
So we talked about some of your customers in regards to older adults. What does it look like for younger customers? The millennials, or that type of customer segment.
The Zoom Care model is really made for them, right? They're busy, they're young professionals, a lot of young families, right? They just want to schedule an appointment, be in and out, and have just one condition taken care of, right? And that's actually part of our philosophy as well. The philosophy is you tell us what's most important to you, and we will take care of that in that 15-minute window. If you come in, usually people stack up because they've had to wait 3 weeks to see their primary care doctor, right? And so they start thinking about, I have all these things, right, that I need to take care of. When you come in and see Zoom Care, because it's on demand, because it's same-day appointments, we take care of one issue. If you have multiple, you just schedule another visit for the day after or for later that afternoon. We can schedule on-demand visits with specialists that same day as well.
That's exciting. And right now, Zoom Care is primarily based up in the Pacific Northwest. And we're going to talk even in bigger terms of how you see, as a thought leader, where do you see the industry going in the next 3 to 5 years. But right now with Zoom Care in the Pacific Northwest, what's growth look like for you?
We've seen tremendous growth. We've over the past 8 months, we've launched 10 new clinics.
Wow.
We're seeing 30 to 40% growth in Seattle alone of new SARAs coming into Zoom Care. We are launching an additional 10 to 20 clinics this year. And we do it because there's demand, because SARA really responds well to the Zoom Care model.
And where do you see? Are you seeing expansion across the country? Are you staying up in the Pacific Northwest? What does that look like?
Well, we are having some of those conversations with our board right now.
I bet you are.
Obviously, they're seeing opportunities that could go beyond the Northwest. We need to do it in a really thoughtful manner, but those conversations are happening. Yeah.
Well, a shameless plug to the Zoom Care board. If you bring one to Colorado, I will certainly visit.
That's great.
That's exciting. Yeah. Well, it makes perfect sense. This is where we need to be going as an industry, and making sure that it is a seamless experience, just like you talked about with Lego and other experiences you've had on the retail side. It's about time leaders like you are cracking that code and figuring it out for us.
There's a lot of things we can learn, Mike, from retail, right? They have really paid attention to what the consumer wants, and they are putting that in play, right? We can, and I know we can, do the same in healthcare, but we need to change our thinking. And that's where Zoom Care really has evolved a very different care model, targeting the busy, the young families that really just want access and convenience.
Yeah, so
we all do, right?
Absolutely, and it's just part of our daily life that we kind of should hopefully expect, and expect that out of healthcare as well. Torben, every time I get to spend time with you, I definitely learn a lot, and I want to take this opportunity again. Where do you see the industry just at large, not just Zoom Care, but at large? Where do you see it going in the next 2 to 3 and 3 to 5 years? What are you seeing?
I think we will see a lot more of the synergies between virtual and retail. We're seeing a lot of new players coming into retail, right? Walgreens, CVS, Amazon, Walmart, right? Setting up their own clinics. So we are starting to get competition actually from, what I would call 21st century companies, right? Companies that know how to scale really rapidly, and companies that know what it means to be a consumer-focused or consumer-obsessed entity, right? And, I think that's going to bring or raise the bar for traditional healthcare companies. And I think part of that is utilizing the virtual care, digital care capabilities, be it Wi-Fi enabled devices, be it additional service that could be provided via chat or via video, and then tying it to a physical retail kind of a clinic or outlet. I think we'll see much more of that over the next 5 years.
Well, giddy up. I want to see it here as fast as possible because I'm a big believer and a big fan of it. So thank you for that as well, Torben. Let's now get the community involved. One thing I love is the feedback from these amazing community members that are rallying around this podcast. And I want to take a moment for you to engage with them. Can you share one problem, need, or question that you or Zoom Care currently have that they can be thinking about and helping you with?
Yeah, I would love to hear from the community as we think about scaling up our virtual care capabilities and finding the synergy to a physical retail clinic. What new capabilities or services should we be providing that could really lower cost, that could improve care, and that could humanize, healthcare as we know it?
Well, there's an opportunity to give Torben and the team feedback. Just head over to passionatepioneers.com, click into the topics section, and find Torben's episode in there. And feel free to leave comments in there for him, as I know Torben will get those directly. So thank you for sharing that, Torben. I'm looking forward to our community thinking through some of that and giving some of their thoughtful responses over to you and the team. Let's also talk about where they can get a hold of you online, websites, connection points, all of that. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can obviously go to zoomcare.com for more information, or at Zoomcare is our Twitter handle. My Twitter handle is at Torben S. Nielsen. or you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. We'll leave all of those contact points in the episode notes for this as well. So thank you for that. All right, Torben, it is time to take this podcast home. I love finishing it with a fill in the blank, and it's the following. Yeah. I'm a passionate pioneer because...
I'm a passionate pioneer because I have a saying that used to go like this. I work in healthcare during the day, then I go home to the 21st century. I think we can change it so that we no longer have to say, I go home to the 21st century, but that we are working in the 21st century in healthcare. We got to bring healthcare into the 21st century.
You just gave me goosebumps. That is an awesome way to close out this podcast. Thank you for that. Torben, of course, you're always welcome back here at Catalyst and in Denver. Thank you for visiting our community. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for making me a better leader in this industry. We appreciate you and the team. And thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for all you do. You're helping all the entrepreneurs in the community out there, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today on Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. We'd love to hear your feedback about the podcast so we can continue to improve this community and to further support the pioneers being featured. Lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and invite your friends and colleagues to join us. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you back with us during our next episode.